What is this watch all about? It has some very unique selling points. It has some very, very interesting technical features, which I'm going to share with you in today's review. But where does it fit in? Where would it fit in your collection? This is things I'm going to cover in today's review, because this is a very eccentric and interesting watch for many different reasons. So we better get down to it. So first of all, here is the stats and specs, then we get on with it. The Ciga M series, absolutely bonkers. You're going to watch this to find out just what this is all about. This is mental, this watch. As you can see here, magician sort of broken out, a bit Matrix style. And I'm going to show you this. This is a prototype. The final example will be about approximately $600. Now, before you rage quit on me, bear in mind this is something so unique and so different that you could add to your collection. That'd be for, if you have that fun side to you, you want something very different from the norm. There's nothing like this. It is really weird, but in some and in many ways, it's actually good weird. So what I'm going to show you, what you get in here is it's a triple case system, and it comes with one strap, which is one of the first downers, I'd say, is just comes with one. It'd be nice to have another few options, but you start with the main module of the watch, which is here. They say it's their own in-house movement in here. I'll go into a bit more detail. We'll show you that close up. Let's get these stickers out of the way. They're still in the box. And what you do is you have 3 cases. You can swap it out depending on your mood and what you fancy. So I'll get these out as well and show you. So you've got a round one, a square one, then a tonneau, and then here's the strap. So this is a toolless system. So you don't need any tools to do anything with this watch. It's so clever. So the main case I thought I'd start with, which I thought I would have as my favourite, is the round one. But over time, I've actually changed my mind, because I think if you're going to go weird, get something that looks like this. This looks like something the Predator might have had as a weapon. Or this, I don't know. This just looks very industrial almost, with these really sharp edges and crisp brushing and details. It's very fun. Round is a bit more simple and straightforward. So it really does depend on your mood. Well, let's start with this, the main body. This is bonkers. Lovely, big, easy to use crown. Big and proportional to the rest of the watch. And then you've got all this information around here for your minute track, effectively. And that is effectively redundant, because the first criticism I'd say is you could barely read the blooming thing. They should have made the hands contrast better with this fully skeletonized, visible, custom Ciga movement. That's the first thing. Is you wouldn't buy this to really go, right, what's the time? Give me 5 minutes, I'll tell you. That's the main issue. It is tricky to read, but then you end up just looking at it because it's mesmerizing. So decorated. It's really well made and finished. I mean, bear in mind, it's not just something that's thrown together with the novelty of it being a skeletonized watch. They've made the effort to make this look fantastic and really well machined. It's not ultra high-end luxury finishing here. I mean, what do you expect for this kind of money? But it's still really well done. And it's so fun to see the inner workings of a watch. And when you pull this out, you see the little bits moving in there. And as you wind it, as you see, it's not fully wound. You can see the gap in the mainspring, which is an open barrel for the mainspring, not mainspring, but it's normally concealed. So you can actually see it. So as you wind the watch, you can just see that spring, which obviously powers the movement. You can see it coil up tighter, and end up, when you just stare at it, you just love to watch that cog slowly turning around. It's like a gear on a bicycle, slowly turning there. You can't use it for reference for timekeeping or anything. It's just fun to see something just moving away there, and the beating heart, that gorgeous balance wheel just buzzing away there. It's absolutely beautiful. So fun. It's just fun with a capital F. And then you look at the fact that the movement holder is done with clear acrylics, so it's all holding everything together perfectly, yet it looks like the movement is floating in. It's just mesmerizing. Sapphire crystal front and back, so it's not going to get all mullered up very quickly, so it's just going to look prettier for longer. It's such a big watch as well. I think personally I would like if they did a smaller option, but then you know what, if you're going to have something that's just looking like a piece of art, why not make a statement and have it a bigger size? So that's my justification in my mind why it's a bigger size. So let's get now involved with this case change system. Built into the case here, you have these push buttons, top and bottom, and they're a little bit awkward to get to. You'll see in a minute. So let's start with my favourite, the tonneau. So all you have to do is line up that part with the crown and just push down. Nice snap. There's absolutely zero play in there with the watch when it's clicked in place. It just feels perfectly integrated. There's no gaps between the case and the movement, etc. It's just beautifully installed. It's really well made watch for that. It feels like a really nicely engineered bit of kit. And oh, how if I clicked it in properly? But yeah, it's just so well engineered. And when you want to remove it, you just got to have a half decent thumb action there. And then you just pop both ends and it just slides out really smoothly. But I can imagine over time this could potentially get all scratched up. But you know what, it doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. And then you don't need tools for the strap. So you just use the quick release spring bars to pop the strap on. This is a premium grade of rubber, fluoro rubber, so it doesn't have that silicone sticky tacky feel. So it's a good quality feel to it. It's a really nice strap. But pointless being rubber for the purposes of water activities, because this has got only splash resistance. That's my other criticism. But I'll put this on wrist and show you why you need to be quite brave to pull this off, because it's not a small watch. I've told you the stats and specs, but I can pull it off on my wrist. I have an average man's wrist, but it's big, isn't it? But it's light. Just over 100 grams, this watch. Whatever case you put it on, it's just over 100. But that just looks like you're in a sci-fi film. And I think that's worth the price alone. If you want to go to a cosplay dressed as a Neo from the Matrix or something, you could wear this. It's mental. So I'm going to show you on another case that's the fun thing about this watch. It's what it's all about. So quick little pop there and a pop there, and out we come. Let's do it on the square one. So that just literally lines up there. Give it a push. There you go. It's see-through as well, so you've got skeletonized case aspect there. And I think square cases wear really well. I think the biggest one on wrist is this one. This wears pretty well, but I think this is the best overall for case wearability. So let's get this strap back on. I do like the square. It's a bit like Bell & Ross, but somebody has taken some extremely potent acid or some other hallucinogen and said, here's my new version of the new Bell & Ross. I've totally lost my mind. It's so slim. They're all very slim. Less than 11 millimeters, which is very slim for a mechanical watch. So bear in mind, it's a big watch for width. Lengthwise, they're not too bad. None of them are much more than 50, which is fine. That's wearable size. And the height helps bring that down. And the weight, again, makes this feel comfortable on wrist. Worn this all day. Didn't even notice it. It's really, well, you do when you look at it. You're like, oh my God, what am I wearing? But it's mental. So yeah, they're beautifully made watches. The finishing on all the cases is stunning. And it's so light. Just hold this. This feels like nothing. It's so thin, but it just feels like it's been really well made. Very smooth brushing. There's no polishing on here. And all the pieces look like they're from a Transformers movie. Like that, they really do feel like something that's just been come out of the mind of a science fiction writer. I love these details, like this recess here. You know what they could have done? Just to be really bonkers, filled these sort of bits here with loom. Like there is, not that one, on this one as well. Put loom in there. And like I said earlier, change these hands to ones that really pop against that invisible dial so you can actually see it. One last thing, the loom in the hands is okay, but when the light drops down, to have that sudden bit of glow on the watch, which is very much all the same colour, actually is really refreshing. How innovative, how crazy, how different. That's the main things I love about this. If you're not into weird and different and crazy and innovative, you're obviously not going to get this watch, but that's the main thing which makes this so different and special. But for me, it is too big. It is too expensive for what could be a novelty that it would wear off over time. Some would argue it's garish. Depends on personal taste, but I've seen a lot worse. And the water resistance is woefully bad. I would worry about getting this a bit wet. I'd say this is a great fun summery watch, but you couldn't take this to the beach because you get it a little bit wet, you're going to very much likely to ruin it. And is it too niche? Is this something that is going to sell by the bucket load because there's no one else doing it? Or is it in that sort of no man's land of, oh, who's going to buy this? I think eccentric people that like something different, this would be so interesting and fun. People would love to talk about this. It's a conversation starter. I think this is a very clever system that could be taken on by more companies, I think. Make this part of the body smaller and have a variation of case themes. I'm wondering if anyone else has done it. Do enlighten me if anyone knows, if any other companies have done this kind of system successfully. I think there is some real scope for this, and if they're as well made and engineered as how this has been done, how much fun would that be? Instead of it just being strap changes you could do, how amazing would it be to go, oh, there's a new case that's been released for my modular system, and it's say PVD black or DLC, and then, or you can have it in orange or whatever colors, and then you can mix and match and play, and then click them together, plug and play, really match it to your mood or your outfit or whatever. And that's where I think there's potential for this kind of system, and that's why I praise this company for pushing the boundaries, and that is something that should just be celebrated regardless if you like this watch or not. So I hope you've enjoyed my take on this bonkers watch. I would say this is opening doors to some potential things that we could see other companies try and do, and that is the interchangeable aspect of a watch, not just the strap, not with the modding scene with bezels and crystals. How about changing the whole case element to play with different materials and textures and colours? I think there's some exciting scope with this, and I really hope that Ciga have started something and inspired other companies to maybe follow suit. So for that reason alone, even if you don't like this watch, I would like it for what it could allow to happen within the watch market. So I'm excited to see if anything comes of that. If not, this is the only option you've got out there. But in the meantime, what a fun piece. Not 100% my style, but you know what? If I'm in the mood for something that just looks a bit bonkers and I just want to express myself in that way with a timepiece, you can't go wrong with one of these. And it's just a fun thing to play around with. Yeah, that's it. That's my review done. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure sharing it with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in another one in the near future. Bye for now.